Good morning, baby girl. How are you? Happy Monday. I hope you had an incredible weekend because I did. And now I am back at work. So I want to come to you really quickly and just kind of share with you what God gave me over the weekend, all the way up until this morning, because I think it'll all kind of tie in together. And that was this. Um, I'll start with Saturday. So, Saturday, I was praying and I had this overwhelming feeling of needing freedom, needing some sort of freedom. Like God's people like need freedom. And people were trying to get freedom but wasn't getting the freedom that they wanted, right? They weren't getting the freedom that they wanted. And I heard the Holy Spirit say, um, freedom is not a state of mind, it's the state of mind that you're in. Like right now, currently, it's the state of mind that you're in. So, freedom is not just a state of mind. I know people say, well, freedom is a state of mind. That's not true. Freedom is not, it does begin in your mind, but what is the state of mind that you're in, right? And so, I started seeing how people were disappointed over the freedom that they thought they were going to get because they were not in the right state of mind. So think about it like this. I've been working a job for 15 years, 10, 15 years, whatever. It could be 2, 3 years, but imagine working a job for a long period of time and just getting frustrated because, well, they're not really appreciating me. They're not paying me what I know I'm worth. They're not appreciating me. And if I just left here, I know I can go somewhere and they're going to value me. They're going to. And so in my mind, I can see it. I want it. And then I make a move and break for freedom, right? And off to the land of where I think I'm going to be valued and appreciated. And then you get there and, well, they they value you, but you have more issues there. You have more responsibilities, stuff that you didn't really like sign up for, and now you're overwhelmed with something else. And well, you start becoming unhappy again because this was not what you thought your freedom looked like. It could be with a relationship, and you can say, you know what? I've been with this person 10, 15, 20 years, and we've just been, I think we've ran our course. We just, irreconcilable differences. We're not going to be able to make it, and life would just be so much better if I could just have my freedom. And then you start remembering what freedom looked like and felt like when you first, before you got married, before you started dating, and you were the life of the party, and everybody loved you, and you had so much fun, and you traveled, and you did whatever, but you fail to remember that, well, life has changed. Time has changed. You've changed. The people around you, your circle have changed. You're not in that place anymore. And the things that you left, you were called out of. You're not supposed to go back to it. And so in your mind, you're still thinking of how things used to be and considering that as how it could be. And then you break for your freedom and you find yourself lonely, tired. I don't want to travel. I have all these responsibilities and stuff to do, and life is not what you thought it was going to be with your freedom. And the children of Israel kind of was great examples of not really being happy with freedom because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be in their mind. They asked for it, they wanted it, they needed it, and downright deserved it. If you asked me, if in a way. But they were chosen. They got their freedom. They saw God do the miraculous, but it wasn't what they thought it was going to be in their mind. They thought the transition was going to be, from, good to great, from okay to wonderful. And it went from, struggle and having that thumb on you to worse. You're in the wilderness. You popping tents every 5 minutes. You haven't reached, your promised land. You've got to fight people to get there. You got to, you know, eat bread from heaven, and I want meat. And, there's just so many things that you want and you thought you were going to have that you had back there, that you begin to be sad about your freedom now and not want your freedom and feel like, man, I was better off when I was married. I knew he was a jerk, but I'd rather be with a jerk and have a roof over my head than to be where I am right now, right? I'd rather be at that old job because remember, well, at least I know them devils, So we'll say these crazy things to kind of excuse the fact of wanting to go back and being upset about and frustrated with our freedom from what God delivered us from. And so the Holy Spirit was showing me how freedom doesn't look like favor. To the naked eye, it just doesn't look like favor. It looks like trouble. It looks like trying times. It looks like struggle. It don't look like, you're blessed. Because you have to go through so much to get to that place. And so it was just so funny how I was just feeling like, well, that's crazy, because it's this, it's about, the state of mind that you're in. And so after that, I was feeling like people were feeling like they were failures. And so I started praying against the feeling of failure, and the Holy Spirit then repeated what I think Pastor Keon said a while ago. And he said, failure is not defeat. I don't think he said that. I think the Holy Spirit gave him that. But failure is not defeat. Failure is just an opportunity to do it again with better knowledge, information, and wisdom, so you can be successful. And so I started praying against the spirit of defeat, the spirit of failure, because sometimes we had to, not get it at the first attempt, because there was something that we needed to learn, something that we needed to see, information we needed to gain. Because remember, everything you go through is not just for you, it's for somebody else. And so there's things that in going through stuff, you have to realize you gotta go through it all, to be able to be a huge impact, for the people coming up behind you. And so I began to pray against that. And so this morning, it was just kind of like the finale where I was praying, and I finished praying and I started praying again. And this time I was thanking God for satisfying us. Like, God, I thank you for being satisfied. I thank you for satisfying us. And I just started praising God so much for being satisfied, and not like the old song like we used to sing, God, anyway you bless me, I'm gonna be satisfied. That's not the feeling that I was getting. I promised you, I felt like God was giving us the desires of our heart, and he was doing exceedingly abundantly. It was just so much that I was feeling like overwhelmed, like, oh my God, thank you, because I felt so satisfied. After you eat a meal that you really wanted and you've been craving, and then you finally eat it, and you're like, oh my God, that's what I wanted. It hit the spot, because there's times that you craving something you can't get it, and you get something else, and it's just like, well, it'll do. I'm full, just not happy. I'm not satisfied. I'm full. And it's a difference. That's a whole sermon right there, being full but not satisfied. But but God was satisfying us. I felt like satisfaction was coming. And I could see so much that was being delivered, and we were being satisfied. And I was just so excited about it. And so when I got to work, I started to read the word, and God took me to Joel chapter 2. And I read almost the whole chapter. Actually, I did read the whole chapter, but I really focused on verse 19. And 19 was saying how God was gonna, after you did all this stuff, after you repented and fasted and did all this stuff that God required you to do, He was gonna satisfy you. One version said with corn, and another version said with wheat and with oil and all this stuff that God was gonna satisfy you with. And I began to get so excited that I couldn't even explain it with words, that I had to, pray in the spirit about it, because it was just so overwhelming of how that was making me feel. Knowing that God is going to take away reproach, and kind of embarrass your enemy and satisfy you at the same time. So I'm thrilled, I'm overjoyed, because I know He's going to do it, and it's going to happen soon. So I hope you connect your faith with mine, because you're going to see God satisfy you. Okay? So I hope this blessed you. And as usual, if I don't come back today with another word, I am going to come back later. Bye. I love you.